This is Leafs Morning Take with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill.
Now we've got a fight started here right off the bat with Rosehill.
30 minutes of live, non-stop Leafs talk starts now.
Without question, it's Jay Rosehill's favorite day of the week. It's Hump Day, the Wednesday edition of Leafs Morning Take. Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill. Rosie, you love that joke off the bat, don't you?
Yeah, it warms me up to hear your one-line zingers.
Hey, you're welcome, but I feel more optimistic on this Wednesday, and we'll get into the reason why. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, leave us a review. Again, visit theleafsnation.com for the very latest happening with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and there's always a lot happening, as you all know. But thoughts, comments, concerns, or questions, stay interactive here in the YouTube chat and on Twitter. Anything you have to get off your chest, let us know. But looking back at last night, first and foremost, a 4-3 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. And you hammered it yesterday. You said it. The local products always come to play. And lo and behold, Mimico, Ontario's own Reilly Smith, 2 goals, scores a shorty first, and then scores the game-winning goal. Just your general impressions to start on that game last night, Rosie.
Yeah, he must have had his Grammy in the stands watching him. A little extra oomph, as guys tend to do when they come home to T-Dot. But honestly, yeah, I mean, this has got to be the best you're feeling after a loss, I would think. I mean, I know you get a little worked up sometimes, but I'm pleased with that game. It could have gone either way, man. And you know, just that compete level is high, that puck battle. Hunger is high, and a couple mistakes here and there, no doubt, but that game could have gone either way. So I'm still impressed, and I just like the way this team's chugging along right now.
I'd be the first to admit I was dead wrong on the Vegas Golden Knights, by the way. Bruce Cassidy has just done a tremendous job. They've won 8 in a row. And they're playing like the Vegas team we thought we'd see last season, right? They're heavy on the back end. Jack Eichel's been really, really good. We saw in the game, in the broadcast yesterday, this guy dominates the Toronto Maple Leafs in terms of offense. That continued in that game. But we haven't given that team enough credit, right? Like, they're a perennial contender, in your opinion, right?
Yeah, they seem to be. I mean, they kind of, you know, they came out of the gates hot when they got that expansion draft, and they haven't really looked back. And like you said, you thought last year would kind of be their ticket, but they got everyone fired up right now and doing what they need to do with their big boys, and they're deep on the back end, and they got their studs. And yeah, they're a solid looking team. Obviously, after 8 in a row right now, they're rolling. So I think they're going to be someone that's needs to be feared in the West for sure.
And selfishly, I took a flyer on Logan Thompson 2 weeks ago to win the Calder Trophy. I understand he's 25, but I thought he was real dialed in last night. The Leafs threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, and full credit to him. I have this theory that left-handed goalies can't do anything in the NHL, so anytime one does, I have to give them credit. So credit to Logan Thompson, gets another win. And Vegas in general has just been totally outstanding and overwhelming in the Pacific Division, in the Western Conference, in the NHL to start this season. With that in mind, let's get over the boards. You see it on the bottom of your screen, Rosie, as you take a sip, presumably of coffee, I hope, and it's nothing else. But we're the moral victory guys on this Wednesday. At least I am. Mr. Optimistic.
That's all you.
It is, yeah. I am. I'm usually the pessimistic one of the two in this pairing. But I'm optimistic, and you know why? It was a tough 3-game stretch. You play Boston, you play Carolina on the back-to-back, and then you play the Vegas Golden Knights. If you were to tell me back on Friday this team would win 2 of those 3 games and get 5 out of a possible 6 points, I would take it, Rosie.
Big time. Anybody would. Anyone in the league would take 5 out of 6 out of that little spread there. And I mean, you got to go back to, you know, they got both their big boy tenders injured, and you got your third string injured. We haven't even seen him. We're not going to see him for a long time. Your fourth string's in there, and I mean, he's doing quite well. The only thing I can say about Liljegren last night is I wish he just had one of those game-saving stops, you know, where you get that one big save where it's like, thank God, and then you're rolling. One of those, I could see maybe 3 opportunities he could have got that big save. But as far as how they were playing in front of him, I loved it. I mean, some of the goals. I mean, that one that jumps over Sandin's stick, the first goal early there. I mean, that's just shit that happens, man. You're on the point. You got no support because you're on the point. Pucks bounce to you. It just bobbles over your stick, and the guy's right there, and you're flat-footed. I mean, that happens, man. There's nothing you can do about it. That's just part of the game. Liljegren's turnover there, he just totally whiffed the puck. Just totally whiffed it. That there's nothing. What are you going to do? Yell at him and say, "Don't whiff the puck"? Well, no shit, right? I love the
Yeah.
way he had poise. He had some patience there. He saw his play and he went to lay a hard, confident play and just happened to whiff it. What do you think? You see the two shots he got off. You think that guy can't handle a puck? He knows what he's doing. That's just an anomaly, right? Some of the mistakes that happen are just shit happens type of mistakes. They weren't like the October mistakes where it's like panicking, freaking out, not knowing where anyone is, no support, running around with your head off type of mistakes. They were ones you can live with for sure. So, I mean, that game, like I said, could have gone either way. You get a big save or one of those little fumbles doesn't happen and all of a sudden the game's yours. So I just like the way they're playing, dude.
You know, I would disagree with you on Källgren. I thought specifically in the second period, he made 2 or 3 stops on like semi breakaways. It seemed like there was a 5-minute run where Vegas got breakaway after odd man rush, and he made the stop. So I'm going to give him credit. I know it was only 16 saves out of 20 shots, but I thought a lot of them were in high danger opportunities and chances for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it's like another pass for me in the Källgren world as we get closer and closer potentially to Matt Murray coming back. I know Ilya Samsonov was already on the ice yesterday. I don't know what to make of that just yet, but I think all in all, again, I'm pleased. They played much better, and we'll get into the compete level of this team coming up in topic number 3 of the show. But when you break it down, and I'm not one to break down tape, you look at the 4 goals for Vegas. You mentioned Sandin, you mentioned Liljegren, the shorthanded goal, like it was just a tough miss of the net, rolls around, and next thing you know, it's an odd man rush. And then the game-winning goal by Reilly Smith, I thought was poor gap control. And, it was a guy guilty, Mitch Marner, who doesn't play defense, who we try to anoint a defenseman to start the year. And next thing you know, Toronto loses another game in overtime. What's the deal with this?
Yeah, I mean, that's all Marner right there. You can see the play. It comes up in the neutral zone.
Yeah.
I think it was Reilly had his guy. Austin, you can hear him on the tape yelling, I got him. He goes up. So, and Mitch just keeps floating towards the dot, leaving the front completely, or the middle completely exposed. Guy curls up with some speed. And I mean, fuck, he didn't react to that until the guy was 10 feet past him. He was still hitting his brakes when the guy was in stride at the blue line where he should have been. It was like, Mitch, I know. And those guys, that 3-on-3 is so exciting. I love it because it's just so back and forth, so wide open. One guy makes one play at one end and it's gone the other end. And, the transition and the thought process from offense to defense is so instantaneous that it kind of takes a special guy to do it really well. But obviously Mitch Marner is a guy who's thinking offense. It's kind of frustrating because it's like, dude, don't think so much offense that as soon as they get the puck, you're completely useless because you can't play 3-on-2 or it's going to be in the back of your net. So it is that was one of the things I said, well, that's one that I want back. The other mistakes I can handle, but that's just like, what are you doing, Mitch? They have the puck. They have the puck the whole time. You got to be protecting the middle and thinking defense first until you get the puck at least. He wasn't doing that at all. So that's kind of an annoying shot because it's in the back of your net, game over after a really solid performance, through and through. But, shit happens. And it's kind of frustrating that they got scored on shorthanded. And then that was kind of a pretty obvious mistake on the 3-on-3. But, like you say, 5 out of 6 points. I stick to the positives. And I'm rolling with it. So, clean that up a little bit. Hopefully they learn from it. You could tell that he was like, damn it, that's on me. So, lesson learned, hopefully.
I was laughing. A buddy texted me, Mitch taketh away. Because I thought Marner was good last night. I think by far through 13 games in this season, they're 7-4-3 in the early going. So 14 games. I thought by far it was his best effort. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, that goal was just all off of stick battles won and being hard on the puck and being tough on your stick and not doing the floaty, dancy, jump around traffic bullshit. It was, I'm going right through all these guys. I'm keeping the puck, and it was just a strong effort. And, him and Matthews, that top line was jumping on pucks and digging and grinding and getting that damn thing. And like you say, that's a strong compete level. So, that's what this team was missing in October. And that's the thing that frustrates, I think, a lot of the fans is like, where is that goddamn effort, the compete level, right? Like when they don't show it, it's obvious. And I haven't seen that ugly, it looks like a lazy team from October. I haven't seen that in 4 games. It's like a thing of the past. So hopefully that stays true and that they're actually finding, ways to access that and to bring it every night. So all you can say is in the last 4 games, pleasantly surprised. We're excited for the future, and the schedule kind of eases up a little bit here for the rest of the week, which is nice for them. And as we know, they have a tendency to play down to the level of the teams they play. So hopefully they can fix that as well, because those losses against teams they should be beating, they can't happen forever. That's ugly.
So how about your guy, Timothy Liljegren? His 3rd game of the season, by the way. It sounds like that's the way he wants it pronounced, Liljegren. 2 goals, +1, 4 hits, 1842, and he goes cheddar on both those. Like both those goals are probably better than any goal you scored in your life, probably, right?
Wired. Well, I put up a couple pretty ones, but you got to go pretty deep into YouTube. Yeah, he can shoot the puck, man. I didn't know he could shoot it like that. Like the first goal, absolutely wired, one-touch wire far side, and then the second one was just good night as well. So I didn't know he could shoot like that. I love it. I just call him Lily. I can't pronounce that type of stuff where they got
It's
all
not your
their
forte.
weird. It's not my favorite. It's not my thing. I'm just calling him Lily baby. So
Yeah.
I think he's a great addition. I think some dummy, if you look at your tweet saying, is a Liljegren going to be a difference maker? And some donkey just wrote, no, I actually know him. So I said, your tweet aged real well tonight. Hey, bud. But he was a huge difference maker last night. It's good to have him back there. And, and who fed him that first pass there? Like total from the corner, cross crease, hard to see that with vision. That's David Kampf, man. He's chipping in offensively. I just love him. 4th line center, man. He's my boy right now. So nice to have him back. He made a difference last night. Got us a point for sure. And I think he's a nice addition to the back end there. What are you feeling as far as how things are shaping out? I just want to touch on the fact that Justin Hull Hull was out there with a minute left in a tie game. Just a head scratcher, man. Just a head scratcher. But I guess they're just trying to get him into it. But what's your thoughts on the back end there right now? Starting to round out a bit.
Well, firstly, I know friend of the show, Jeff O'Neill, kept pointing out on the broadcast last night that they kept starting each period with the 4th line. They got scored on in the first minute of the game. That's another story, by the way. Toronto centered a goal in the first minute of a period 5 times this season. Nobody's even close. Number 2, your bottom 6 continues to muck it up. You love to see that. And then on Liljegren, he's been a pleasant surprise. I think there's no question they need to add on the back end, but all in all, through 3 games, I think he's brought a bit of stability and something this team was looking to see and needed direly right after that dreadful October. In a perfect world, though, like Rosie, what's your forecast? Like, what do you see Timothy Liljegren being? I know he's still relatively young. He's just 33 with the opportunity still to thrive and grow into a better role and a bigger role in the NHL. But to me, he's probably a top 4 minute muncher and sort of like your hybrid shutdown guy who can chip in offensively from time to time, what he showed last night. Would you agree with that assessment, or can you dream bigger with a guy like Liljegren?
Well, I hope that's the case. My biggest thing is to get that reliability on defense, like to be, if Mark Giordano, like in the last minute, I want Gio out there. He just understands the game. He doesn't throw it away. He knows when it's a high a high stress situation and in a dangerous situation, and he protects before anything else on that. Some other guys have a tendency to just, oh God, unload. And when you do that in this league, they can smell it and they can read it and they pick it off and it's in the back of your net. Gio doesn't do that. And I want, to have another layer of that with Lily back there and, playing with Morgan Reilly, to have that stability back there where that they're not going to cough that puck up. We can put the hammer down on the forwards and you got a safety valve back there with our defense. And then if he's shooting the puck and jumping in offensively like he did last night, I mean, that's even better. I think he can be like you say, a really solid top 4 defenseman. And, if he just keeps getting better and better, like you say, his age, is he old? Absolutely not. Is he super young? No, he's kind of in that wheelhouse for a defenseman where you're developed, you're ready to go, you've had some experience, and it's time to shine. And I mean, 3 games in, he's had a bit of a hiatus there with some injuries, and he stepped right in last night. He didn't look like he was missing a beat. He looked confident. He looked solid. So I really want him to be a presence in this lineup and like you say, be a top 4 guy that you can really rely on.
Yeah, I think you're bang on with that. I think they direly need a guy like this to elevate and step up, whether it be internally. I think Rasmus Sandin has had a up and down start to his season, so like they need this from Liljegren. Like whether he likes it or not, he's going to play more over 18 minutes last night. I think he's been really, really steady in the first couple games, and it's been a great development. Granted, the sample size is small, but if he can elevate into a top 4 guy at the very least, I think they're going to be very, very happy with the progression of Timothy Liljegren. Speaking of very happy, compete level. Now, call me crazy, but hasn't watching the past few games proved a point that they weren't working hard enough in the month of October, Rosie? Like, I don't know about you. I was even more enraged with the start to this season watching the game last night. I'm like, who are these guys? It wasn't my beer league team anymore.
Of course, you're instead of being happy with how they're playing, you're mad at how they weren't playing before.
No, but
And I
do you
love
get
it.
my point that do you understand what I'm trying to say though?
100%, and I agree with you. Through those ugly losses, and like people would yell at you, going, "What do you mean they're not trying or their effort isn't there? Are you kidding me?" Like if you were to go and ask them, "Is your effort level there?" They would be like, "Get the hell out of here! What do you think we're not trying?" But it's like you could pull up clips of the
Mm-hmm.
beef of those games and be like, here's a puck battle, here's a chance to beat someone to the puck, here's a 50-50 puck that you watch the guy get and then try to get it. Here's you stick sweeping instead of getting the hell in there. Here's you just trying to lift a stick from the outside instead of getting in there and winning a puck by, like, all these compete things that coaches just fucking pry on all the time. Like compete. It becomes like a stagnant word because they use it so much, but it's so crucial to winning, man. When you get all those guys just going like bulldogs. And I don't care if you're a fourth line guy, you better be going like a bulldog on every single puck, on every single shift. And if you're a stud, you got to work to get your cookies. You got to work to get to the open ice. You got to work to get puck possession. You got to work to create space. And they're all doing it now. And like you say, the last 4 games have proven that. It's like they're not just spinning their wheels hoping that things happen. They're making them happen, and they're demanding that it happens, and they're forcing the issue, and it looks great, man. I mean, it's awesome to watch, and 100% agree with you. It makes it more like, well, where the hell was that at the beginning of the season? But it was the beginning of the season. They're working with each other, trying to figure out where everyone is, and you're starting to find some chemistry with lines and mix it up a little bit. And I'm starting to think, like, I agree with you. Now that they've shown that they can do it, okay, now you've got to prove that you can do it every night, and there's no excuse not to do it anymore. It's not, you can't go back to the old, well, I'm going to sit on the perimeter and hope I get some big chances, and hopefully we bury, and hope this and I hope that and I hope this. No, you don't hope for nothing. You got to make it happen. And if their effort level isn't there in the future, you can go to the tape and say, this is how you play. And I agree with you. It needs to be done every night. It's not an easy league to play. You're not good enough to show up and beat teams. You're not good enough to show up and beat the bottom of the barrel teams. There isn't really anyone that is, man. They've said in the past, coaches have said multiple times, anyone can beat anyone in this league on any given night. There are no sleeper nights.
Yeah.
There are no easy games. It's the National Hockey League. So I hope they're understanding that, and whatever has happened to inject this type of effort into the lineup, whether it's the coaching or some systems or some leadership or whatever it is, it's looking a lot better. And now that's the expectations, right? I imagine you're going to expect this every single night. Everyone should.
Rosie, I never want to hear an analyst say they can't question the effort level of a team ever again. Dude, go watch the tape from October. Go watch the game against Arizona, Anaheim, San Jose. Like, list the shitty opponent they lost to, and tell me
Yeah.
it's not night and day difference from what I saw last night, what I saw on Sunday, what I saw on Saturday against the Boston Bruins. So I never want to hear that again. It's like the cliche stock answer from any analyst, more so guys who have played in the league, by the way. They're like, oh, you can never question the effort and compete level. These guys are trying. They care. I don't buy that for a second, because watching that game last night, dude, I was chuckling. I was laughing, and I was texting with you, sending emojis watching that game. I'm like, who are these guys? Where has this come from? So that's what, and not to be pissed off about it. Again, in the long spectrum, they go 2-0-1 in 3 games. I'm not getting pissed off about it. I'm just saying that's what makes me boil when you watch an effort like that and you compare it to what we've seen in the past, whether it's in the Stanley Cup playoffs or in the regular season or in October, this past October. It's just the finite difference in teams we saw out there, Rosie. That's all I'm trying to state.
Nope, I agree with you. Watching the game, like, speaking of intensity, I wanted to bring up,
Mm-hmm.
like, did you see Nick Waugh? after Liljegren's second goal, the third goal, snap his stick over his knee. I'm seeing that all the time. Have you ever seen that in your life? I had to bring that up. I'm
No.
like, these guys are snapping twigs like Bo Jackson snapping a bat over his head. I don't understand, because these new twigs, like they're guys are using lower and lower flexes, it seems like, because you can lean on them and they snap back. So it's more like a noodle, so they don't really snap.
Yeah.
Where when you used to use a stick like a 110 flex Easton Ultralight, if you try to snap that over you try to give it too much flex, it just snaps. I don't understand how these guys are snapping these new twigs over their leg. I would never even dream of trying it. I like to think I'm a bigger, stronger guy. I could never break a stick over my knee if I tried. I can't believe I keep seeing this on the bench. It looks fucking awesome, personally.
It does. And the best part about that was Nicolas Waugh, I think, was out there for like 3 minutes. That was a shift where Matthews and Marner were just running them into the ground, and he was gassed, and he still broke the stick.
They looked like they're on a power play, man. I was watching the shift going, oh my God, they have to score. They have to score. They were running it around these guys, and obviously they're tired, but why are they tired? They've been hemmed in their frickin' zone for 2.5 minutes straight, and then ends up with that nifty dish from Marner, and Lily goes top titty again, man. That was a sick shift. I was like, this looks like a power
Sequence.
play out there, and they were just working teams, and that's what I love to see about these big boys, is they can take over and dominate and make guys look stupid, and we're starting to see it here the last 4. So keep it going, man. We got to make the Pittsburgh Penguins look like donkeys out there too, all game on Thursday, hopefully.
Yeah, that's why we're a good combo, because watching that game and that shift, I was going to take my PS5 and throw it out my window because, again, I still don't know why I wasted my time watching the games in October to watch an effort like that last night. I can't remember in recent memory where I came out of a game, they lost, they coughed it up, and I didn't care. I was happy with the way the team played. So I'm feeling positive on this Wednesday. You mentioned it, 2 games coming up, a back-to-back, the Hall of Fame game on Friday, then the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. We'll get into that in mere moments. But first, the wrap-up is brought to you by our friends at PointsBet Canada. Cha-ching is right, my dude. So I put everything on the line on yesterday's show. I said, if I don't hit this, Rosie, it's your turn to go at this. But lucky for me, and I was telling you off air, it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, I was happy the over hit, but I was also unhappy the Leafs lost the game. But it hits, so move forward to tonight. You ready for this play?
Hit me.
So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins money line on the road against the Washington Capitals. Now, I fully realize that I was burned with the Capitals on Monday, but I'm going to stick with them. I think you look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, minus 131 on the road. I get it. I get the reason why that's the number. They've lost 7 in a row, outscored 33-16. Rosie, if they can't get up for a game against their rival on the road, they're finished. And I just believe way too much in Sidney Crosby. So I like Pittsburgh tonight to end the losing streak.
Oh, Nikolai. I liked it at plus money, and then I see that minus 131. I'm pulling for you. It's one of those games where it's like, hey, you're due. Snap out of it. You're better than this.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were going to be like plus 120, but I mean, they are the Pittsburgh Penguins. I hope that you know what you're doing here, man. I'm nervous for you, but hey, I was ready to take over this morning, and you pulled out your bet again. So you know what you're doing. You're way over 500. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not taking it. I'm not on board. I've taken everything you've taken up to this point. I'm a little nervous about that one, but I hope you win. And I agree with you. Last night you hit the over, but I would much rather give up a few bucks and get the win for the Maple Leafs. So, hey, I'll watch. And now we got something to chirp back and forth about here.
Exactly, because there's only 4 games tonight. I think if you want to look elsewhere, I would look at the over between Vancouver and Montreal. But I get your point. Like, there's not much juice in taking Pittsburgh tonight, which is weird because they're on the road. Normally, the home team is favored. The Caps have had a pretty decent start, but they're banged up. And I think, obviously, Vegas is expecting there to be a bounce back at some point in time with Pittsburgh. But to your point, been seeing this a lot with teams like Calgary and St. Louis, where you're expecting them to win a game and they don't. But just for some reason, I'm on Pittsburgh. There's just too many studs in that locker room. I think they find a way against the rival Capitals tonight.
Hey, that's why they call it gambling, baby.
And I bought myself a couple days, I think, with that victory yesterday. So let's roll on. Again, to wrap, coming up this weekend, the Hall of Fame game on Friday, then on Saturday, and they play the Vancouver Canucks. We should tee up. Coming up tomorrow, one of your boys, one of the fellas, Luke Shen, stopping by the show.
The human eraser. We're gonna see. We're gonna see if he's happy in that market out west and the shit sandwich they got going on. We'll see if we can lure him over to the Maple Leafs. Hit us up on Twitter and let us know if you think you want to see Luke Schenn back in the number 2 Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs jersey. That would be pretty cool. Blast from the past. I guess it seems like 2 seconds ago that he was, the face of the franchise, an 18-year-old rookie. They didn't have a whole lot going on on the roster at that point in time, and he stepped in. I still talk to him going, how did you step into the NHL to the Toronto Maple Leafs and be the face of the franchise with all that scrutiny? And he handles it just like it's nothing, man. He's just a consummate born professional, and it was really impressive to come in there. I think I was there his sophomore year, I think, and just a solid career he's had. He's carved it out, and he's still giving her in that league and making it work and being a presence and playing the game the right way. And yeah, we're going to bring it back to the human eraser tomorrow with our guest. So it'll be good to see him there. I want to see what the Leafs fans think about him, and see if we can tickle some feathers as far as getting him back east to the Maple Leafs team. That'd be pretty cool.
And we have to give it a rebuttal too. We had Scott Hartnell on last week, and we talked about 30-year-old Scott Hartnell fighting 18-year-old Luke Schenn. So maybe we get a thought on that. But just your background, is that how you guys pretty much met? Is in his sophomore season? You stayed buddies ever since?
Yeah, we just stayed buddies there. He just laughs at everything and loves a story and just wants to have a quick bullshit. He loves food more than anybody I've ever met in my life. You get to the rink in the morning, the first thing is, Rosie, what'd you muck for dinner last night? And I'm like, who cares, man? But he wants to know so badly, and he looks so forward to going out for dinner. And he used to be a chubby bugger. He loves showing this picture of him, and he's just got these turkey tits, and he's a big fella. His parents had to tell him to quit eating because he was just blowing up. But yeah, loves food, but he stays in shape because he works his absolute balls off on the ice and in the gym. And then we both ended up in Philadelphia. So I kind of followed him around, I guess it looks like. But I just, every single time I was on a jet in the NHL, Luke was beside me, and we were just pumping country and Western tunes and telling some stories and staying good friends afterwards. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having him on the show.
You got to get a picture of that, by the way, and put this on the show tomorrow. Can you get your hands on that?
100%. I'll just ask his brother, Braden.
Oh my God. Yeah, so don't tell, and obviously St. Louis is in a tough way right now. Braden's struggling, so are the Blues. But if you can do that and then shock Schenner with that on air, I think that would be hilarious. And sabotage too, which we love on this show.
It'll be easy. The whole time he's talking, let's not even show his face. Just have that turkey tits little 8-year-old version of him.
That would be tremendous. Great stuff today, Rosie. Got a couple days off. Again, the Leafs back in action on Friday. That's also a reason why I like Pittsburgh tonight, by the way. Hall of Fame game coming up on Friday. The Leafs are going to try to bounce back after this loss. They're going to be feeling good. And then you just never know who's going to start in goal on Saturday. So they better win that game on Friday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We know Schenner's in town on Saturday. So appreciate it today, man. You killed it. And we'll talk tomorrow, okay?
Right on, dude. Good show. And yeah, hopefully we keep this train rolling.
The man, the myth, the legend, Jay Rosehill. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, leave us a review. This has been the Wednesday edition of Leafs Morning Take. Take care.